Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Financial Ernie. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about what I decided to do with my Mullen Automotive shares, as well as my current outlook on the company. We're going to go over the 10Q, just a quick brief update with what we saw on that earnings report. And then I want to share with you all what I intend to do moving forward. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And really quick, wanted to mention that this is not financial advice. This is just my own personal opinion and personal decision on what I decided to do, again, with my money. I went ahead and did sell my Mullen Automotive shares back on July 5th. And I'll share with you all exactly how I came to that conclusion on the next few slides. And then I'll share with you what I decided to do with the remaining cash and what I plan to do moving forward. All right, so first thing I think you all should see is definitely this Mullen chart. This is taking it back to kind of mid-April. You can see we did have that jump in share price where it did go all the way up to about $7.50. You know, looking back, hindsight, this is how all traders are. I really wish I would have scaled back my position at that point in time, but I decided to hold my position. There was a lot of activities going on. There was a lot of PR that was breaking. And I was just hopeful, again, as a trader, I was hopeful to see that share price continue to rise. However, there was some additional information that broke about mid-May that basically, in my opinion, kind of started this downward trend. So again, this is the Mullen share price chart, and you can see where I sold about July 5th. It was around $2.28, $2.29. And since then, it's reached a low, closed the last trading day at just 27 cents. All right, so looking at the DEF 14A that was filed sometime around, I believe, June 10th, you can see that these warrants are being calculated in terms of how many shares could be provided, you know, based off of exercise of these warrants, but the date was May 14th. So one thing I wanted to point out is between May 14th and June 10th, the share price did decrease. And with that, there are certain Black-Scholes calculations that are used in order to calculate an accurate number of shares that a company or an investor would get based off of the warrants that they have on hand. So again, I want to go over a couple of these. So Isusa Holdings, superscript 3. So looking at section 3, I've highlighted here. Again, if they were to exercise their warrants as of May 14th, they would be able to add an additional share count of 3,463,000. So what's important to note is that at this time, the cap is still at 9.9%, and this shareholder proposal, this vote, was to increase the percent of ownership from 9.9 to 19.99%. So again, that would allow these investors to exercise additional warrants and hold on to additional shares. So again, this hadn't been approved yet. The vote for that was going to be in mid-July, but just wanted to kind of share what potentially was to come. And if you look at JADR Capital, superscript 4 down at section 4, you can see that as of May 14th, if they were to exercise those warrants, they would receive an additional 1,073,000 shares. So again, you know, those shares potentially would create dilution if those warrants were exercised. Again, as I mentioned, they are capped at 9.9. That doesn't mean they can't exercise those warrants. They would just have to sell their additional shares if they reached that 9.9% before they could continue to exercise more and more warrants. All right, so we're getting closer. This filing was actually on July 3rd. So just 2 days prior to me selling the majority of my shares. And this was the prospectus that was attached to the S1 filing. This was for Isusa for that ELOC. So that $150 million for 75 million shares. Again, at the point of this specific filing, the share count the common share count had already increased to 16,031,470. So there was already dilution going on, either in terms of the warrants being exercised by some of these different companies, or from some of these employee incentive program where they were able to get additional shares. So why I still continue to stay in until that July 5th date, in my mind, I thought if Mullen was able to basically sell this offering to Isusa for this $150 million, my thought was that, with a market cap as low as maybe 30 million at that time, that, Mullen Automotive may have had something up their sleeve, and they were going to announce something in the days to come that would kind of justify, an ELOC, this equity line of credit of up to $150 million. Again, with the market cap dwindling and with these warrants that would continue to get exercised, causing additional dilution and basically taking from the market cap, my assumption was that we would be getting some form of news. So on July 5th, this was on a Friday, just before the shareholder vote, which was occurring that following week to increase the number of shares for Isusa and other companies up to that 19.99%. I decided I'd go ahead and sell my shares. I was also, just to be completely transparent with you all, there were days where I would be very anxious going into the opening bell. I didn't know if there was going to be any good news breaking, or exactly what the share price was going to do. So having a lot of your portfolio in a company can basically cause a significant amount of anxiety to an investor. So again, just wanted to be transparent with you all and just share that information with you. So I decided to go ahead and sell the majority of the shares. And I got to tell you, I did feel a little bit of relief afterwards. And then, of course, the weeks to come, you saw the share price continue to go down each day, each week. Continued to feel better and better about my decision. And as we know now, it's down to around 27 cents. So I saved myself about a factor of 9 already by selling when I did. So again, I went ahead and saved that money, and I intend on sharing with you all my current status and then what I plan to do moving forward. But again, just want to share with you all, this was basically why I decided to go ahead and sell. It was based off of no news coming out, no significant news that would justify, the amount of funds that these investors were willing to put in, compared to Mullen's market cap. So again, I'm not saying that news couldn't break. What I'm saying is that in my mind, my opinion is, if Mullen already had significant news to share with the investors, I feel that would have already happened. They would have already wanted that volume to get increased, and I feel that would have potentially helped justify them diluting into the volume run up. But unfortunately, that did not happen. There was, of course, news that continued to flow, but in my opinion, it wasn't news that really justified, this large of an offering, this large of an equity line of credit. All right, so if you look here, this is from Mullen's latest 10Q. If you're an investor in Mullen Automotive, you would have probably already reviewed a significant amount of this, but just want to go ahead and share with you all. First thing is going to be at the top left here. This is their vehicles. So vehicles that were invoiced and cash received. So you can see there they had some Mullen 3s and some of these urban delivery vehicles, which are the Mullen Class 1 EV cargo vans. They did invoice a total of 15 vehicles, but as far as cash being received, what's on the books for revenue, they received revenue for what looks like just 2 of their Mullen Class 1 EV cargo vans for $65,000. So if you look at the bottom left, I want to focus on the operating expenses. So you can see their general administrative was sitting at $47,477,000. Their R&D was at $14,292,000. So how did that compare to the previous earnings report. You can see there that their general administrative was still sitting at 47,903,000, and their R&D was higher at 24,023,000. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that the G&A, general administrative, really hadn't moved much quarter to quarter. And if you do recall, they did have some PR out at the beginning of the year where they stated that they would be doing some significant cost savings to be able to help kind of cut back on some of the spending. If you think about it, $65,000 in revenue is not really going to put much of a dent into their operating expenses. So, the assumption is as they're trying to scale up and increase their revenue and potential profit margin, quarter over quarter, that you'd start to see them tighten their belt around the general administrative. So I still don't see that happening. They did say by the end of the year that there would be some significant amount of savings from a cost down standpoint. But as of right now, I'm not seeing much. It does make sense the R&D went down. They did kind of take a step back from their consumer vehicles just to focus on the commercial vehicles. So there's a little bit of a decrease there. But I am curious, in these past 3 months, what was spent on R&D? What was that $14,292,000 that Mullen did spend in this last quarter? Again, was it crash testing? It would be nice to get an update if that was the case. Was there any additional battery testing going on? Again, would be nice to hear about that kind of information. These are the types of things that investors want to know about when there's a significant amount of dollars being spent on an operating expense line, such as shown here on their earnings report. So again, as I mentioned, on social media, these are some of the things that I still don't see current state Mullen making very good progress in. So in my opinion, before making any future Mullen content, any future Mullen videos, I like to see that revenue get up into the millions. So without that, I don't see the company continue to progress. So I will be looking at them still, as someone who was an investor, a significant investor in the company, in my opinion, and where I'd like to be able to see them in the next couple of earnings reports. Again, they have very little cash on hand. Their market cap is very small. So unless they're able to get a breakout quarter in terms of sales, any large deals, I don't see much viability left. Again, this is just my opinion for the company. So it's going to be very crucial, very, very crucial that this specific quarter that we're in now, that they're able to get some significant sales. And I'm not talking about 5 to 10 vehicles here. I'm talking they're going to need vehicle sales in the hundreds. So let's stay tuned. Let's all watch. Again, I'll be watching for the most part from the sidelines and see how Mullen is able to finish out this quarter. So what have I been doing since July 5th? I'll show you right here. I have been basically screening multiple stocks, looking for some opportunity to kind of make back some of the losses that I had with my Mullen investment. I've been using FinViz here. It's a great stock screener. It's free. And I'll be sharing exactly what type of screening presets do I use, and go over all that in future videos, but just wanted to quickly just show you what I plan on doing moving forward. I will be screening stocks. I will be investing in 10, 15, sometimes 20 companies at once, and I'll be sharing, potentially top 5, top 10 companies that I have on my watch list or that I happen to be invested in. So just wanted to share that information with you all. I hope that you would enjoy some videos like this. I will not have a Discord or anything like that. I plan on just sharing my experience, sharing my trades right here with you all on YouTube. So hope you all enjoy the content that's to come. All right, so how have I been doing since that July 5th sell? And you can see here, this date range is from July 8th to August 18th. And if you all recall, and I'm sure you do, there was a little bit of a downward push in the majority of the stocks back at the beginning of August. That lasted for almost a solid week. So that did put a little bit of a dampener into my plan, but I was able to still continue to push forward, and I'm still continuing to see some successful trades as I continue on. I'm looking forward to being able to share that all with you, week over week, but just wanted to kind of share with you all of the close positions. This is how I did over the course of that time. And you can see I do have a red one there at the bottom. Wish I would have held that one a little bit longer. That one actually did have a nice little bounce. It's trading around $10 a share now. But anyway, this is the total of the companies that I was investing in. And for the most part, my plan moving forward is to look for companies that have a profitable, looking for that P&E to be in the positive. Again, that's just my opinion. Some people like, some of the speculative trades. Also look at some of the forward P&E as well. I think that all is very good information to have. And then another thing to look at is look at your debt over equity. I think that's really important as well. If you are trading companies that have more equity than they do debt, then there's less risk of them needing those detrimental SPAs that we see so many different companies utilizing, these days to be able to generate revenue. So if you can find yourself a profitable company with less than 1 on the debt over equity, then you're going to be in good shape, in my opinion. Of course, this is still not financial advice, but just want to share with you all. You can see here that my goal is to make about 5% on each one of my trades and just continue to turn over, that capital as I make these purchases and these sales. All right, folks, and that wraps up for me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know your thoughts on my decision to sell my Mullen Automotive shares. And then if you wouldn't mind, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on my intention of creating additional content, non-Mullen Automotive content. I'm going to be looking to screen the stocks out there looking for investment opportunities. I'll be sharing those in these YouTube videos moving forward. As you can see, I've been doing it now for about a month, and I've really enjoyed doing it so far. And I'm looking forward to sharing, more updates with you all as I continue down that path. Again, just wanted to point out that I am not and was never a paid representative for Mullen Automotive. I received no compensation whatsoever from the company. I was just an investor in the company. I do still have a very small position in Mullen Automotive, but I decided to take the majority of those funds out and continue down this future path that I'm sharing with you all. And I hope you all really enjoyed this update, and I can't wait to share with you all on the future videos. And with that said, hope you all have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you on the next one.